Welcome back to Power Play. Today we finally got details on the government's wage subsidy program that will cover 75% of workers' wages for qualifying businesses. It's retroactive to March 15th, and it will cost you $71 billion. That is on top of the billions the government's already spending on other financial aid measures. So will the Liberal government's plan be enough to help Canadians through what could be months and months of deeply uncertain time? And then the question is the money coming out fast enough? As we just learned from Bill Morneau before the break, there's a 6-week wait, or up to 6 weeks. Let's get reaction from the leader of the NDP, Jagmeet Singh. He joins us now from Toronto. And Mr. Singh, I hope you and your loved ones are well in this unprecedented crisis. What's your reaction to the wage subsidy details that were announced? Who qualifies? And I guess most importantly, the up to 6 week long wait.
Well, for the measure itself, in principle, this is something we've long been calling for. A week before we came back to Parliament, we mentioned some important things that we needed urgency. We needed to immediately move to help people keep their jobs, keep money in their pockets, and protect their homes. While we were in Parliament, I called on the government. I acknowledged that the wage subsidy they had announced at the time seemed unprecedented, but a week later, it was no longer enough to help families and businesses that were struggling, workers that were losing their jobs. So I called for a 75% wage subsidy, at least the way other countries like Denmark, UK, and Sweden have had at least 75% or more in terms of wage subsidy. My concern now is, again, the urgency. If we want to help people keep their jobs, the wage subsidy is a good way to do it, but the 6-week wait time to receive that subsidy is going to mean that a lot of businesses are going to let go of their employers before this benefit actually rolls out. And that, to me, is very troubling. We need to do everything we can to keep money in people's pockets, to make sure they've got a job to return to, and make sure they've got a safe place to live. This is about jobs, and it has to be quicker.
Yeah, but how do you make it quicker? Look, this is the biggest aid package in Canadian history. This is a really complicated piece of legislation that you're going to have to vote on. How could you get that kind of money out the door more quickly?
It's really a question of the urgency is there. We need to do it. So we have to find a way. This isn't something where we've got the option to delay. I'm willing to speed up the passage of the legislation. But what we need to know is all efforts possible being taken to make sure this money gets to businesses? What is the point of having a wage subsidy that is going to be significant if it's too late and businesses end up letting go of their employees anyways? That, to me, is terribly.
But okay, I think you're making a fair point. But how would you get it to go? And I think everybody wants it quicker. How would you get it out the door more quickly? The finance minister, Bill Morneau, just told me it could be 3 to 6 weeks, but he wants people who apply to it to try to rehire employees that they've temporarily laid off. Is there a better option? And if so, what is it?
Well, I mean, one of the things is, it's always difficult to look back, but when we were in Parliament, I had asked the government to consider a 75% wage subsidy. I had asked multiple times in the House during the time period we had for questions, and I made it a part of my speech. We could have passed this back then. I was willing to provide the support, and that's what the Liberal government needs, at least one party willing to support. I've already said that's something I believe in. We could have passed it then. I just can't accept that in the year 2020, with all the resources, all the technology at our disposal, we can't find a way to do it faster. I don't have all the answers on the how. I just know we need to. And if we need to, I'm confident we can find a way.
I guess so. This is $71 billion got to get out the door. There's a lot of packages out there. The how will be difficult. What will be the biggest question you have when you come back to Parliament to vote on this, sir?
Well, my biggest concern is that any public dollar, any amount of money that we spend has to be tied directly to workers. I don't want to see a scenario where we're spending billions of dollars that go to CEOs or go to shareholders and don't go to workers. So really, the wage subsidy to me seemed like a really good idea because it's tied directly to wages. I just want to ensure that any measure we take is going directly to ensuring people have a job, people have salaries, people have wages. That's important to me. That's where the focus has to be on any measure that stimulates the economy or any measure that tries to subsidize or support industry. It has to be tied to jobs, maintaining, creating, keeping people hired.
All right, Mr. Singh, I got to leave it there today.